edit this. So it's running now.
Okay.
And then you have signed the waiver, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get cracking, shall we?
Okay.
This is the weirdest thing I've done. I'm gonna edit this out.
Yeah.
So
Might as well hit it before.
exactly. Thank you for participating in this study today. We'll discuss the adoption of modern and alternative teaching methods such as gamification, spaced repetition, methods of loci, and associative learning in educational settings. Your insights are invaluable to understanding the challenges and opportunities in implementing these methods. There are no right or wrong answers, so please feel comfortable sharing your thoughts and experiences.
Okay.
So I just want to start off with your name and your age.
Robert Dugan. I am 19.
That's good. So the first question I'm going to open up with here is, could you please share your role in education and your experience with innovative teaching methods?
I guess I'm in college. I'm a freshman here at UND.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 2023 from high school. And I mean, I've helped in classroom settings with student teaching sometimes.
So you're a student.
Yes.
Yeah. In your opinion, what are the key characteristics that define effective teaching and learning in today's educational landscape?
I feel like having the teacher help with certain students that they can see that are behind the learning curve, like specifically help them or help them find ways to bring those students back to the learning curve that they have, whether it's like one-on-one or like access tutoring outside of school hours.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more of the background. So, of the methods that I mentioned earlier, such as gamification, spaced repetition, methods of loci, and associative learning, what is your familiarity with those methods?
I have never heard those methods before.
Okay. Have you ever had any teacher, or have you, if you've had student teaching, implemented any so-called modern methods in your classroom or institution? And if so, could you share your experience with that?
So I was behind the learning curve of reading from a very young age. I suffer with dyslexia, still suffer with dyslexia to this day. And I always had some teachers would pull me into different classrooms during like free time that we had, and they would help me with like extra reading packets and help me understand like how to do some certain things. Or they would take me to another school that had people that were specialized in teaching with disabilities to help me with different aspects of learning how to read.
What do you think? What do you think was the reason that they, or sorry, no. What do you think helped the most from those experiences that you had?
I feel like the most that it brought out of was a one-on-one experience. So teachers weren't calling on me in front of other students who weren't having this problem. It was just a one-on-one with me, and they would help me like figure out different ways to like read up and down a page, left to right, and just not make me feel like I was stupid.
In your view, what do you think are the main barriers to adopt more innovative or more modern teaching techniques in an educational setting? I know you said you hadn't heard about the ones you mentioned before, but gamification is take Duolingo for language learning. You're learning the language, and you're also trying to keep a streak going. You're getting points. You like the gamification of teaching. Association is trying to connect it to other things, so it's easier to remember. What do you think would be the biggest challenge of implementing such techniques in today's educational landscape?
I feel like not a lot of kids have the attention span. I feel like we saw a big change with that, like over COVID, was like even high school students, even like high school to grade students, we all had like this shift of like not wanting to do it anymore, and like that affects everybody in the long run. Because when I worked in a school for a very short time, I saw like reading levels were much lower than it should be for like third graders. They're reading at a first grade level. I was like, wow. So I feel like kids don't have the want to read, and also a lot of students aren't like, they don't have a physical book. It's like all online. So like the distraction aspect of it could also be a big problem.
How do you perceive the potential impact of modern teaching methods on student engagement and learning outcomes if it was implemented?
Could you rephrase the question?
If certain of the, like, or a few of the modern like gamification, if that was implemented, do you think that would have a positive or negative impact on education or on outcomes?
I feel like teachers and like admin would be optimistic that it would work, and maybe it would work for a very short time. But again, like kids get distracted very easily, no matter how old you are, and it would I feel like it would just go down the drain like pretty quickly.
Do you think these methods could be better suited for alternative methods if people need assisted learning?
I feel like assisted learning would be a lot better, not as like a whole like classroom, because classrooms there's like 20-30 kids in a class, where if it's just specific it's more like 4 or 5 or less. So if it's like in a smaller contained group, I feel like it could work, but if it's like a bigger group, I don't think it's gonna work.
Okay. What do you think are the amongst your peers? What do you think would be the attitude if certain newer methods of teaching were discussed?
For like people in like the education field, I feel like they would be hesitant on doing it. Because especially like older teachers, they don't really have, like, obviously they've had to change into like the newer age of teaching students, but I don't think they're gonna have like the best adaptability into the entrance of like these new teaching methods.
How about from a student perspective?
I feel like the student perspective, I feel like they'd be interested at first, but as like time goes on, I feel like it'd be just an extra like homework assignment for them, and like a chore that they have to do, and they're just not going to want to participate in it.
What kind of, I know you said that you think it might be for a lack of a better term, a fad. It'll come in and it'll just stick around for a little bit and then probably fade away. But what kind of support and resources do you believe are necessary to facilitate the adoption of modern teaching methods?
Probably teacher like specific teachers for that area, because not a lot of the teachers that I've had in the past were like licensed for. Especially, well, I'm gonna say from my experience, like being in the like Catholic school system, they're not really trained to deal with kids with disabilities, or they're not fully like they don't have like the full training of it like public schools do. So like private schools do not have the resources for that. They're more of a strict basis of you have to get all this done. That's why I had to go to different schools where if they had a teacher there, I'd go to that teacher. But I feel like public schools, they have more of the like resources for that, and they actually have teachers with training for these to help. I think that's the question.
Could you do you have any examples of what you would consider successful integration of newer teaching methods?
When I was a student teacher for a 5th grade classroom, I'd come in every Thursday and Friday, and I was more of the like math teacher for 4th and 5th grade because they had an intertwined class, and I would have the responsibilities of like making it a game. And it wasn't a game that was like more of a point system. It was more of a, if you got this, it would lead into some other things for certain kids. So it was like I made it a challenge. I've seen like if you make it a challenge for certain kids, like it makes them want to learn it, like go in and learn. And I had like the most success with that. And I actually got some of the teachers told me like this is like the most they've seen like kids want to learn math. So I feel like if they have like if you have like newer kids come in and like make it interesting for some kids, it would make it more effective. But it all just takes time.
What do you think were the biggest factors that contributed to that way of doing it being a success?
Well, first, it's like a new perspective, because these kids had the same teacher all year for about 6 months, so they've gotten used to their teaching style. So having a kid that's like only like 6 or 7 years older than them, that has had closer integrations with that, and make it more fun, because that's ultimately what I wanted to have whenever I was in school, was to have it more fun. So having like younger students come in and like teach it in a way that like made them want to learn, I feel like was a good stepping stone for them.
Looking forward, what steps do you think need to be taken to overcome the barriers to adopting new methods in education, if that is necessary?
Definitely like special ed training for all teachers, and some teachers like definitely have to have like, even if you're like a veteran teacher, like definitely have like someone who's like in the classroom with you, just like even if they have like younger, especially with like more special ed training, if you have kids with some disabilities, because I think you're told towards the beginning of the year if you're gonna have some kids that have some problems, just have someone there just for that kid, or if they have to just like leave the room for about 10 like during that time, and specifically just like work with them on this issue, and like have them still interact with the material with not being in the classroom.
Is there anything else you'd like to share regarding your experiences, hopes, or concerns related to the use of modern teaching methods?
No.
In that case, thank you for sharing your insights. Your input is crucial for understanding the complexities of adopting new modern and alternative teaching methods, and it will contribute significantly to our research. So, thank you.
Yep.